Vets Crew, new era. Um, you knew it. Running the SSR, lovely livery colours. Cool. So this week's track guide. Now, John Van Ray called the channel Macca's Masterclass. Wouldn't say Masters, but certainly, well, over 40s is Masters, isn't it? But anyway, yeah, obviously, big change. 9.5 is done. Great to wrap it up with the podium, and Dino and Stewie had a pretty good run as well, so it was really good. But yeah, new journey, new chapter. On board with SSR, working with those guys who are just a bloody absolute bunch of legends. And yeah, looking forward to having some fun and getting back into it and taking a bit of weight off the shoulders. So thanks to those guys, and yeah, that's what you'll see me running for the future. So rock and roll. The Bend, tricky track. I don't know if the setup's massively different. I'm going to have a bit of a look at it and see how different it is to the last time we were here, but it feels very loose in the rear initially. But I think it's just a little bit of more time in the seat. You'll get your head around it. But stops quite well. Same cylinders as last week, which makes a bit of sense. Big stopping zones. So bias-wise is pretty similar. I can't remember what I've done on this lap, but yeah, probably forward a little bit tends to be the way. But feel like you're getting a bit understeer and then start dialing it back a bit to see how you feel. But anyway, we'll do what we do. Just the usual jump on board, go for a lap, and then we'll walk through it. Cool. That's a lap. So the 52.33. So sort of done 15 laps is all I've done. Took me a little bit to get it right. So yeah, there's more in it, but really good, solid bloody lap. I think the old Barbarians have got that'll be second quickest lap at the moment, I think. Wayno with a 51.9, but yeah, should be all good. How many laps has Wayne done already? Oh, he's already done 61 laps. Get into it, Wayne. So yeah. Anyway, but that is a lap of the Bend. It's a fun track. It is. I haven't done this yet. I don't think. No, I haven't. It's a fun track. It's a challenging track, that's for sure. But yeah, it's hard on the tyres, as we know. So certainly got to look after the tyre, front and rear. And as you can see on this lap, a couple of little mistakes in it still, which is good because that's what we want to be able to look at what you can do better, not just what you can do. So anyway, down into one. Obviously, it's pretty flat chat. Borp. On the brakes, round about the white line. You don't want to over brake here, brake too deep. You can push it a bit further, but it is, again, we talk about flow every week, so you got to flow the car as best you can. You can brake a bit deeper, but you find you're carrying more brake percentage into the corner longer, so you're going to be trailing harder. Which on this corner, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. So, yeah, so on the brakes, pretty solid. You can kind of see I'm a little bit up and down on the brake pedal, just keeping it a little bit modulating to avoid any locking, especially with that 20 front cylinder, I think it is. Yeah, 20 front cylinder. So, and you can see on this lap around 66. Again, it's all personal preference, and that's probably why I'm modulating a bit, because it is a bit far forward. Easy to pinch a brake, especially on the white lines. But anyway, down through the gears, down to third gear here. And you can see, just like I said, a bit of modulation there. And then certainly want to rotate the car in nicely with a nice amount of trail. I felt like I was going a little bit too quick still, so I just grabbed a little bit more in the middle there and then trailed back out of it again. I was a bit wide. Want to probably get a little bit more curb and straighten it up here, but it wasn't too bad overall. Wasn't too bad overall. Nice on the throttle early as always, sorry. Definitely want to pick it up as soon as you can. You'll know what I keep saying about curbs and throttle. If you can carry a bit of throttle, it's going to be better for the car. It's going to keep it a little bit more settled over it. So just be careful not to grab too much so you don't have a slide on the exit. But it's pretty clean out of there. Third gear, get back to full throttle as soon as you can. A little bit of a lift. Get up on this curb. You got to hit it the right way. It was pretty clean there. But yeah, use a bit of curb. You don't have to. You can just use this. But bit of curb. Get the car up. Weight that right side. Might rotate a bit better for you. Constant throttle through that whole section. You know, there's a couple of bits here where I'm on off, which isn't really ideal. You'll see it. But yeah, nice smooth throttle through here just to carry momentum. You're not trying to, you know, pick up 30 kilometers an hour here. You're just trying to have a nice linear lift in speed. So, and then square the car up. Pretty hard on the brakes. Again, bit of quick trail down to second gear here. So use the engine braking to slow the car up a bit, which is why I come off the brake pretty quickly. And then you really want to trail in a fair way and get the car in really nice and tight. Now, I'm a touch wide here, and I pick up the throttle a bit too aggressively here. And you'll see on exit, the car's still, you can see how the car's still weighted to the left. Because I didn't square it up really well. It goes from weighted on the left, unloaded on the right, very quickly to a slide. So you can see it just the whole time wanting to fight. So not ideal. So probably just a little bit less throttle through there. But again, once it started sliding, I tried to just maintain a pedal. So, you know, again, so you just probably want to be, I was a little maybe narrow in, and that's created that exit issue. So just a little bit later in so that you kind of get to here, not there. It's only, you know, a meter, but will make a difference up the hill. You can square this, as I always say, get the steering wheel nice and straight. You can square the car up and get on the throttle harder. You can see here I'm picking up the throttle with a lot of lock on the car and a lot of load on that left side. And then it just wants to do what it does. But again, kept the throttle into it. I kind of had a big hesitation there, though, for no reason. Kind of felt like it was going to continue to slide, but it actually gripped up once I balanced the throttle here. But yeah, I was a bit of a sook there. Should have gone a bit harder. But anyway, this is a tricky little spot. So up the hill, up into fourth gear anytime now. And then for me, I'm holding fourth. I think most would. I don't. You're getting close, but no, I think fourth is the answer. And you want to get the car as far to the right. Fuck, don't go as far to the left. You'll have a problem. As far to the right as possible. And you can see, yeah, there's a lot of people just grabbing a bit of dirt here. Not a big issue, but if you grab too much with the front, you're just going to plow. So avoid that where you can. But yeah, a little lift on the throttle. I think I have a dab on the brake here. Yep, just there. Just a bit of weight on the nose. Get the car over the inside. Use a bit of grass. Not too much. It'll be an off track. but a bit of grass to get the car rotated. And again, you can just see out of the throttle to get the weight on the nose to get the initial turn. And then just a little bit more. When I came back on the throttle, I was probably just a touch aggressive there. So I had to come out and just dab the brake lightly again, just to get a bit of weight on the nose, just to keep it rotating. But you get to a point in the corner, probably around about here, where you want to start feeding the throttle on so that it steers in the rear of the car. Otherwise, if you just sort of keep diddle-daddling around with it, it's going to be slow. And you'll find it might actually plow a little bit because the weight isn't on the front of the car. So definitely start picking up the throttle, as you can see there. And you can just see that car steering wheel straight the whole time there. So from the time I commit to pick up the throttle, the car's rotated, and then bang, it's pretty much straight, and the car's turning left. Okay, so just using that's throttle to steer the rear of the car. Obviously avoid this, it's slippery as shit, so we don't want that. But yeah, fifth gear. Braking, it's a bit of a weird one because and it makes sense that the brake boards are on this side and not this side where they'd get taken out. But I don't need that, I've got a button for this. Yeah, fourth gear. And then pretty decent brake application. And I'm braking, it's a bit of a weird, I shall go cockpit because it does change marginally the view. So braking roughly around the tower here on the windscreen wiper. So there it is there. Now, you don't want to, well, you can, again, you can brake deeper anywhere you want. But you've got to stop the car, rotate it, and get up the hill. And everything about this is uphill, squaring the car off. If you're trying to attack the corner too aggressively, you're going to get understeer, and understeer will generate all the way through to exit, and then you slow up the hill. You'll have what I had back at turn 3 or whatever it was, where you got a bit of understeer in the car, you're trying to pick up the throttle, and then it wants to snap sideways. So, underdrive the car to yield a bit of a result here. Pretty aggressive on the pedal, on the brake, I mean. Bit of a blip in the middle there. Just something I do. And it tends to be around about where I blip, and I don't left foot brake. I do left foot brake, sorry. I don't right foot brake, so the blip doesn't make sense on the brake trace. But anyway, yeah, so carry that trail a fair way in. Second gear for me. Now, you can get away with third, but if you're going third, you've got to slow the car up even more, in my opinion, and probably open the entry up a little bit. I think second works pretty well, but it will hurt the rear tyre a bit, but helps get the car into the apex quite nicely. So you want to trail a lot. You can see here a lot of trail all the way in to about there-ish, a bit further even. Holy crap, it's a long way around the corner for a trail. We'll play that back. It's actually quite a long trail. But again, a little bit later on the turn in. Again, you want to focus on the run up the hill, yeah? So nice amount of rotation, trailing, clear. So not a big percentage of trail, because if you do, you're just going to lock that front left on the way into the corner, which you obviously don't want to do. And again, picking up that throttle nice and early, there is a crossover there between brake and throttle for me on that corner. Second gear, you could probably pluck third early, but if you can get that exit right up the hill, and the car is square enough, second's the way to go. Just don't get too aggressive on the throttle early. Alternatively, grab third and just full noise up the hill. But yeah, just practice it, try different things, see what happens. Second gear, popping up to third gear. And this is a really fun but challenging section. Maximize the track where you can, probably a bit narrow, but that's okay. And again, so this is where I talk about earlier, a little bit of on and off the throttle crap. On and off is all right. That's how kind of steering the car. More throttle, understeer, less throttle, it'll turn. It's putting weight on the nose. And especially here where the first part of this is downhill. So as you come over the crest, the front of the car is quite light. So you do need to get weight on the nose to keep it rotating here. So yeah. So I'm out of the throttle at that point, back in. I didn't like that. That was a bit weak. And that just leaves me, it's quite funny you talk about it, but that little blip, admittedly, that was probably a bit high, but if we join these up, okay, that blip where I just come out of the throttle leaves me a car width, half a car, 3/4 of a car, narrow of the line. You really want to try and maximize this as best you can. So that little lift there just put more rotation in the car. And yeah, left me a bit narrow, but now that, folk, is what we call a shitbox. So down the hill, nice and balanced on the throttle. But you can still hear it. Nice and balanced on the throttle, and again, just nice consistent steering input. So go and watch that back through, but nice and consistent steering input. So I'm not in and out of it too much. It's just keeping that front left loaded, driving the car on the throttle where I can. Get the car back. You really want to attack this narrow. You don't want to be shooting out this way because it A, takes too long to get back to the throttle, and B, it just puts you in no man's land for the next left-hander. So a little bit like the Mexico stuff, yeah? Like bring that train of thought to here. It will make a bit of a difference for you. So yeah, float the car out. It does float out a fair way, but you're coming back early, as opposed to if you were another car width wider, you're making this really narrow. So you want to square the car up, and I was still probably just a touch. Like you're talking, like bring the nose of the car over half a meter, if that, 300 mil, and that changes the trajectory completely out of here. So yeah, just food for thought. So down to here, it's fourth gear, out of there. And then down into here, third gear. So make a bit of a mistake here as well. You want to attack this curb, but probably not as aggressive as that. So you definitely want to get onto the sausage, in my opinion. Sounded wrong, but anyway. But yeah, so I just grabbed a little bit more brake. I probably didn't need to because the car was rotating quite well. And I was just a bit too square there. Just wanted to bring the car up there, not there. Reason being, it's actually quite a hard hit. I don't know if you were to box, jump in the pits after that and see if there was any damage to the car. But I think if you did that every lap, it would definitely create some sort of damage to it. So yeah, you want to get up on the curb nicely. The problem with it bouncing like that is it's throwing the weight that way. Yeah, it's throwing the weight back to the right. So the car stops rotating for a bit. So I'm just a smidge wide of where I want to be, which is coming off here a little bit more instead of going that way. Hope that makes a bit of sense. What does that mean? I'm a little bit narrower here. Not the end of the world, but it does mean you've got to brake the car a little bit more to keep this nice and tight. Otherwise, again, it's just going to understeer in the middle. So you got to balance everything out every corner. If something's a bit wrong, you can't brake at the same point and just attack in here. So I'm a bit wide. I'm a little bit narrow on entry. So I'm going to want to brake the car a little bit harder on the trail so that it keeps it nice and tight and I can still focus on the exit. If I go in here with the same theory of the car being a little bit here, and don't carry as much brake and then try and carry that speed in, it's just going to understeer and hurt the tyre. So think about it, adapt, and you can see sort of got the car up onto the curb and I had to scrap. That's where I scrapped. It's only a little bit, yeah, but just a little bit more brake in the middle just to keep the car hooked onto the curb and then able to pick up that throttle nice and linear all the way up. Being in third gear, then you can grab it once you're comfortable out towards that curb. Use that whole exit. Up the hill, fifth gear. No, fifth gear. Yeah, actually, I went to fifth gear on this one because my run out of there, even though it was a bit narrow, was actually quite good. So you can carry the limiter a little bit if you want here, but it depends how far you want to brake. But fifth gear, and then braking just past the 100 board. Again, pretty aggressive brake here, to be honest with you. Even though you end up a bit uphill, but yeah, pretty aggressive. Down to third gear, and you can see a good trail in, but bang, there's that crossover. So keeping the weight on the nose, obviously it's an uphill on camber initially to an off camber exit. So you can really kind of suck the car in hard on the brake. So it's a fun corner. Kind of reminds me, even though it's nothing like it, kind of reminds me of the cutting at in Bathurst, where you can really lean on the car on the entry, and then as you come out of it, the car gets really light. So yeah, definitely yeah, you can see plenty of trail, but picking up that throttle, grab a bit of the sausage there. Again, you don't want to grab too much of it. And then be patient there. So you can see the car just wants to slide the whole time it comes off there. Too much throttle, it's just going to it snaps sideways. But yeah, it was quite a tidy exit there. I was happy with it. Used a bit of dirt. It's not an off track. Up into fourth, and then on the brakes around, I don't know what that looks like from an onboard, to be honest with you. Just past, is it? Don't even know where it is. Yeah, there it is. Bang. So yeah, around that 50 board on the screen. You could have an ultra wide. That might not actually work for you. But yeah, get the idea. I don't know what else doing. Chase. There it is. Okay, two ways you can take this corner: second gear or third gear. Second gear, you could brake a bit deeper because you're going to go down another gear, use more engine braking. Third gear, and I can't actually remember what I use, so this will be an experience for all of us. So third gear here, and I've used third gear. So there you go. So I broke a little earlier, and you can see out of the trail brake quite early. Really focus on getting the car in. It's pretty bang on, maybe a couple 100 mil off where it should be, but pretty close. But again, picking up that throttle nice and early, but not too aggressive because again, this is off camber. So if you pick up the throttle too aggressive early, and when I say that, so if you're at that throttle percentage, sorry, back here, for example, you know, you're going to the right. You're going to hit the outside here. You're not going to get the car rotated. So just nice and progressive. So we're talking about that difference there. So just be very cautious on it. And again, it's just flowing the car. It's not trying to pick up 30 k's an hour between that apex and that ripple strip. Float it out. Use the ripple strip in the green if you can. If you get it right out of there, it's absolutely good. There's plenty of grip on the green, so use all of that. Don't be too narrow. This cost me a little bit of time. That's your number two. Cost me a little bit of time here, but overall, not too bad. And again, balancing, a little bit of a touch on the brake here, just to get set, just bang, nose comes in. So a little bit of a touch on the brake, and you're talking, I don't know, 5 to 10% maybe, probably 5 to 8%, just enough to get weight on the nose, and bang, you can see the car instantly wants to rotate. So it's kind of in, bang, there it is. In it comes. And then because you're in third gear, you can really start feeding the throttle in pretty hard up the hill. Flick it over. Grab fourth early if you need to. Bit of a lift there, so you could go to fourth quite early if the car's okay. And probably use a little bit more throttle, but anyway. Down into here, now this is a spot where you can certainly carry the limiter in on fourth, or you can do fifth. So fifth means an extra downshift, depending if you're using third or second in this corner. Again, there's two ways to tackle it. So got a really good run out of there. So instead of banging it on the limiter for bloody, what? I mean, there's the shift. So shifting just before the 150 and then braking just before the 100. So it's only 50 meters, but I always feel like I've always said I'm a bit of a rhythm person. So holding it on the limiter feels like for me it throws my rhythm because I should be upshifting and the old brain doesn't then like braking zone because it, yeah, anyway, that's just a MACCA quirk. But braking into the, call it 130 mark, 120. Pretty hard on the brakes, fourth gear, third gear, and I'm going to go second gear. You can use third gear into here as well. I just find the exit, mid to exit, is better in second gear. That's just my preference, but it is a little bit more aggressive on the tyre. So you've got to balance that out. Again, if you're going to use third, I'd probably stay in. I would stay in fourth gear. So you didn't carry too much speed in. Stay in fourth, drop it to third, maybe brake a similar spot, if not a little earlier. And that will, yeah, allow you to get the car in and rotated. But you're going to have to carry that trail in a little bit nicer. One thing of note, and it's something that you should get into the habit to, especially with second gear, is so 2 quick shifts there. You can see fourth, third done quickly. And then I delay the third to second shift, only because you are stopping the car pretty quickly. It is uphill here. So instead of grabbing second straight away and putting a little bit more heat through the rear tyre, higher rev range, so it's going to retard more. So yeah, I delay that third to second shift a little bit longer. As you can see, bang, so it's probably an extra 15 meters on top of it. Just something to have a think about. Just server finished. Oh, it probably has. Yeah, it would have. Anyway, so nice sort of late-ish turn in. Pretty much nailed that. Pretty happy with that. And then again, picking up that throttle nice and early, up and out, using all the track limit. Third gear. Now I can't recall if this is the same ratio or not. So like I said, I probably do have to have a look at gear ratio on the old dock. But the last time we were here, you can use fourth gear here if you get it right. Maybe even look at short shifting on exit here. Third gear carries you kind of to the dirt, 3/4 up that exit curbing. But it's a really awkward shift. So think about maybe trying to get to fourth early. But pretty straightforward. It's into the 50 board, on the brakes. It's just a stab to get weight on the nose and then a bit of a trail. And then bang, you're picking up the throttle quite early. So again, this is that. But again, not too much throttle. You don't want to pick up 80% throttle early because it'll just understeer. It's just about getting the car to start to turn. So you can see the steering wheel's off at this point and the thing is still turning right. So that's what I mean by rear steer, is you need that throttle percentage to get the car rotating. If you're hard on the throttle and still turning the car, then you ain't got it right. But you really need to get that initial rotation good so that when you get into the apex, you can pick the car up, you can pick the throttle up and start to just not slide the car, but four-wheel slide the car. What do they? There's a term for it. Anyone wants to drop it in the slip angle. Get that slip angle right, and away you go. So if you don't know what slip angle is, look it up. Slip angle motorsport, especially simulation. But anyway, and you can see what I mean here. It's kind of awkward. Fourth gear. So why I say it's awkward is if you don't get that right and you have a little bit of a moment, you're going to be on the limiter before you can get the gear, and you're trying to change gears and have a moment at the same time. Chances are you'll catch the limiter a little bit longer than you want. So my advice is grab fourth as soon as you're comfortable. If you don't get that good exit, you can use a little bit of grass and dirt there as well. And obviously we all know about pit entry. 40 k's an hour at this track. I think it's absolutely freaking ridiculous. What is it, like a Grand Prix style racetrack, and you've got one of the slowest pit lanes in Australia. 40 k's an hour is just absolutely bloody ridiculous. But anyway, I can't change that. I've just got to slow down enough to get there. So really practice your entries, because you will make or lose a lot of time. People try and maximize it as best they can at a track like this. You're going to cost yourself 40 seconds real quick by trying to maximize something. But anyway, and then harden the throttle on the way out and away you go. Pretty straightforward stuff. But yeah, it's like I said, it's a fun track. It can be a frustrating track as well, because as we know, the draft isn't mega in these cars. But yeah, it's still fun no matter what. I wish that camera was a bit louder, but anyway. Yeah, still fun. Rock and roll. I do apologise, my mic's probably a bit loud. But yeah, it's a flow track, as we know the bend is. Good fun, but keep the car under you. Try not to slide it around too much. Try not to lock brakes. As soon as you start pinching fronts, you're just going to heat the front tyre up. If you have a moment of slide or lock or whatever, just underdrive the car for a couple of laps and let the tyre temp come back down. When I say underdrive, I just mean just brake a little early, lift off a little early, like just get the car back under control from a temperature point of view. And you can see what I mean. That was way too aggressive. Get the car under control from a tyre temp point of view, and then you'll find the tyre will start to recover for you. What do? You might lose a spot doing it, but you're probably going to be better off doing that than really hurting your tyre by continuing to push. And then all of a sudden you're in a battle with someone, your tyres get even worse, and before you know it, you're losing 10 seconds instead of maybe 1 or 2 seconds. So just think about it. Yeah, tyre management is the most important part of these cars. We know that. But yeah, so damn, that thing looks good. Excited to be in the SSR crew. Excited to be doing something different. And yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season. But any questions, yell on out, and I will do my best to answer them pretty much as always. So thanks for the support. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, and all that stuff. Cheers, guys.